Hi everyone, my name is Lokesh, and today we'll be learning when to use the present tense and how to conjugate ER verbs in the present tense. Before I teach you anything about the present tense, I highly recommend that you verify that you know these personal pronouns. If you haven't seen these before, I really urge you to pause this video and make sure you learn this, because if you don't know these personal pronouns, there's not much point in learning how to conjugate a verb in the present tense, because that will just seem pointless to you and won't make sense. So, now I'm going to continue, presuming that you know the personal pronouns in French. I'll be splitting the present tense into 4 different videos. ER verbs, IR verbs. ER verbs are verbs that end in ER. IR verbs are verbs that end in IR. And RE verbs are verbs that end in RE. The 4th video is going to be about irregular verbs. And the reason why I split it up into 4 videos is that ER verbs have a set conjugation pattern depending on the personal pronoun you use. I'll explain this later in the video. Same thing goes with IR verbs and RE verbs, and each irregular verb have a different set of conjugations which you'll have to learn individually for each one. So the reason why I have split the present tense into 4 different videos is so that in each different video you're learning a different conjugation pattern at one time. So let's get started. So when do we use the present tense? It is important that you're 100% sure on when to use the present tense, because if you don't know when to use the present tense, learning how to conjugate a verb in the present tense will be pointless, because you won't know how to use it in a real life speaking situation when you're in public talking to a French person. When do we use the present tense in French? The first use, which is an obvious one, is to describe an event that is happening right now. For example, I'm playing tennis now. That event is happening right now. The action of me playing tennis is happening right now. Another example would be like, I'm texting my friend. Whenever I say that, I mean that the event of me texting my friend is happening right now. The second use of the present tense, which is a little less obvious, is to describe a regular event which happens at a set regular time frame. For example, I play tennis every Sunday. That happens at a set time. It's a regular event that happens every Sunday, and it is still happening. Another example would be like, every night I text my best friend for 1 hour. There's a regular event with a time frame attached to it, every night being the time frame, and it's still occurring. Okay. So, say if we have an ER verb, rester, which means to stay, if we want to conjugate that into the present tense, i.e. if we want to say something like, I stay, first of all, it's an ER verb, so if you want to say I stay, you chop off the ER and you add the E. So now this means I stay. If the pronoun you're conjugating the verb into is to, i.e. you, here the verb visiter is visit, it's an ER verb. If you want to say you visit, you chop off the ER and you add ES. Ta-da! So now we have this verb jouer, which means to play. If you're going to use the pronoun il, elle, or on, for example, if you want to say he plays, it's an ER verb, you're going to chop off the ER and you're going to add an E onto it. These 2 words here mean he play, she plays, one plays, we play. So donner, the verb to give, if you want to say we give, we're going to have to use the pronoun nous, so it's an ER verb, we're going to chop off that ER, and we're going to add an O and S. So nous donnons. Demander, the verb to ask, the pronoun we're going to use is vous. Whenever it's vous and it's an ER verb, you're going to chop off that ER and you're going to add an EZ. So vous demandez. Now the verb here, arriver, which means to arrive. If you want to say they arrive is in the present tense. Arrive is an ER verb. You're going to chop off that ER and you're going to add that ENT. So they arrive. So here's a summary for the conjugation pattern for ER verbs. What you will notice is that whenever you get an ER verb, regardless of the pronoun you're using, you're always going to chop off that ER. What you really need to learn for conjugating ER verbs in the present tense is that, firstly, if it's an ER verb and it's regular, you're always going to chop off that ER. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that depending on the pronoun, you're going to add a certain type of ending. So what you really need to learn is that for ER verbs in present tense, if it's regular, I'm going to chop off the ER, and depending on the pronoun, I'm going to add that certain ending. different ways of learning. I discussed this in the previous video. You can use Quizlet sets. You can write stuff over and over again. I'll create a Quizlet set and put the link in the description. The way I personally learned these endings was by making a rap where I just told myself that for ER verbs in the present tense, you're going to chop off that ER, and I just made a rap of these endings. I will now perform a rap to help me and you memorize these endings for ER verbs in the present tense. For ER verbs, you chop off ER and you add E, ES, EO, NS, EZ, and T. Well done, guys, for learning how to conjugate ER verbs in the present tense and learning when to use the present tense. I wish you the best of luck in your French studies. Goodbye.